The Eastern Conference sucks, and everybody knows it. But Ryan and I, for years, have kind of tripped back and forth with each other exactly how much more the Eastern Conference sucks. So we're going to debate it today, and we're going to rank every single NBA team on a 1 to 5 scale very quickly. Plus, I would like to talk about how awesome Nikola Jokic is from the standpoint of his durability. He is an absolute tank. We're going to talk about it on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us, making this part of your day, being with us Monday through Friday, hanging out with us as we do shows throughout the week. No show yesterday. Sorry, I had some stuff going on and wasn't able to get to it, but we're back tonight. Here with no jinx, because we'd never, ever jinx anybody. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I write a Denver-focused site called the Denver Dig, which you can find using the old Google search engine or Bing. Some of you might use Bing, Safari. I don't know. There's got to be other ones. You could use the AIs. I'm sure they could find it too. Maybe eventually the robots will find us all. His name's Ryan Blackburn. He's host of the Pickaxe and Roll podcast, and he's the senior NBA writer for Mile High Sports, covering your Denver Nuggets. Thanks for being with us here on a Wednesday night. If it's Thursday when you're listening on the podcast, hope your week's going great. I hope you guys are looking forward to a great weekend, as I think it's actually going to cool down a little bit since it has been, well, hot as parts around these parts. So glad to have you guys with us on today's show. I want to talk a little bit about the fact that Nikola Jokic is still just absolutely churning out like these monster performances for Serbia in Eurobasket play, in the friendlies, all through Eurobasket. Then he's going to play in the NBA season again. And the durability of Jokic and a testament to his endurance, it deserves credit. So we're going to talk about that on today's show. But we start with this exercise. I asked Ryan Blackburn today.
Yes, sir.
I said, I want you to take every NBA team, and I want you to rank them on a 1 to 5 scale. This is my favorite method for doing literally anything, by the way. If you want to put something from a qualitative concept into a quantitative concept, the Likert scale is without question the best. And the Likert scale is the 1 to 5. And then if you do surveys, it'll be, do you strongly disagree, somewhat disagree, don't care, agree, or strongly agree.
Right.
And that scale is very good for establishing things, because it does force you to differentiate between okay to great. And I think it's got less of the connotations of A, B, C, D in our grading system, because like if you get a C, nobody's ever like, hey, a C. Everybody's like, oh, a C, right? And so this is a little bit better, where it's like 3's fine. 3's perfectly fine. And so I asked Ryan to do that. So we're going to run through those teams, and then we're going to look at the results of it. And I want to ask Ryan this central question, and I would like your answer in the comments at youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets. Is it unfair that the Denver Nuggets have to play in the Western Conference? Is it unfair that the conferences are not more even? All right, Ryan, we're going to do this lightning round.
Let's go.
Hawks.
4.
I have a 3. Celtics.
Okay. 3.
I have a 3. Nets.
1.
1. By the way, the distinctions on this are, I should have said this before. 1 is tanking. 2 is you're bad, but like 30-ish wins in that kind of a range. You're not trying to lose. You're just bad, but you're like, you could catch a team every now and again. 3 is basically 35 to 45 wins. You're in the play-in tournament.
Median.
4 is you're a sub-contender. You might be able to reach a top 3 seed. You might be able to like get within range of like, if things went exactly right, you could make the finals. And 5 is, of course, you are a finals contender.
Like the Nuggets were a 4 last year. The Pacers were a 4 until they leveled up and became a 5. I think that it's fair to have like that kind of context. OKC was a 5.5 last year. That's just what they were.
Okay. Charlotte Hornets.
2. They're graduating up from a 1.
Me too. Chicago Bulls.
2. They are downgrading to a 2.
I agree. Cleveland Cavaliers.
5. Easy.
Yep. Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, we're going. I thought we would split East West. Dallas Mavericks. I have 3.
I have them as a 2. I think everyone's insane. Their point guard's D'Angelo Russell. That's their only point guard.
Of all the people to discount defense, I did not expect it to be you, Matt.
Yeah, I don't think their defense is that good either. It wasn't last year. Like they got lucky in 2024, and I don't think any of that was real.
Yeah, I just think they have too many good front court players on the defensive side of the ball to not have at least have a baseline. D'Angelo doesn't have to do anything crazy.
They're also starting a rookie in heavy minutes, and rookies are never good defensively. Denver Nuggets.
5. They've graduated.
Me too. Detroit Pistons.
4.
Me too. Golden State Warriors.
4.
Same. Houston Rockets.
5.
I've got them as a 4. I'm not ready to put them in that level yet. I think that
tough.
They're young.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a distinction because I think the Houston can finish with more regular season wins than Denver, but I'm not sure that they're like that much better. Like I don't think they're on Denver's level as far as championship aspirations.
I can't believe that we disagree about Kevin Durant and how good he is.
Indiana Pacers.
3.
Same. Clippers.
I have him at 4, but it's like a 4.5.
Yeah, I have them as a 5. I think that they're legit.
Yeah.
Lakers.
4.
Same. Grizzlies.
3.
I want to put them as a 4. I think people are sleeping on them, but I put them as a 3 to be safe. Heat.
Yeah. 3. They're the perfect 3.
Yeah, they are the perfect 3. Actually, I think they're the high end of the 3s. Bucks.
4.
Ooh, me too. I thought that one we would disagree on.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing. Do I think they could finish with 47 wins in the Eastern Conference? Yeah, it's not going to be hard.
The Minnesota Timberwolves.
5.
4.
I still have them at 5, but again, we'll get to New York. I couldn't grade them differently from New York.
Okay. New Orleans Pelicans.
2. Yeah. Not quite 1.
Yep. The New York Knicks.
I have them as a 5.
Me too.
Yeah.
So we're like lockstep here. This is not going to be the exercise I thought it was, but we're going to argue about the meaning of the difference, I think. Yeah. Oklahoma City. 5.
5.
Yeah. Orlando Magic.
I still have them as a 4, but I'm dangerously close to moving them up to a 5.
No, I think they're a 4. Philadelphia 76ers.
3. They could go any direction.
Yeah, I put them as a 4 because it's like, look, if we're going to talk about like the strength of the conference, we have to give some credence to the idea that things could work out for them and they could actually stay healthy for a year.
I gave the credence to Milwaukee.
Phoenix Suns.
2.
I have them as a 3. They're going to be competitive.
That's our big difference, I think.
Portland Trailblazers.
I still have them as a 2, but like it's really close.
I think they're a 3. I think they're going to be like competitive for the play-in tournament this year.
Okay.
Sacramento Kings.
3. They're a perfect 3 as well.
They're a 2, sir. Come on.
You don't believe in Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan playing together with Domantas Sabonis anchoring the defense, sir? He's actually wasn't that bad defensively last year, but I can't believe you, sir.
Yeah, they're a 2. San Antonio Spurs.
3.
Yeah, they're a 3.
Yeah.
They might be a 2. I'm not entirely sold. I'm still kind of like Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, still your wing rotation, huh?
But they could go any different lineup direction, and it doesn't matter because they've still got Fox and Wemby as their pick and roll.
Toronto Raptors.
2.
Yeah. Utah Jazz.
1.
Wizards. 1. Right.
Wizards 1. I debated putting them at 2, but like because I am Wizards pilled because of you, but it's actually very frustrating now because I looked at their roster and realized, oh wait, Chris Middleton's going to start at power forward for them. That'll go well. It's going to be really tough.
Nah, I don't think he will.
They're going to be the smallest team in NBA history.
No, it's going to be Sar. It'll be Tristan Vukcevic.
I will do. I think he's actually very good and sneaky good.
Okay, so we've done this exercise. Now in the second segment, we're gonna tally them up. We're gonna talk about the difference. We're gonna talk about why it matters, and then we'll get into Ryan. I'm gonna give him the platform to make the argument that life is unfair for the Denver Nuggets. We'll talk about that next year on Locked On Nuggets. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. Okay, this sounds wild. I'm just telling you, like, I have stuff from CBS Sports I had completely forgotten about as far as like financial stuff that I had gotten as part of that company. This happens when you work long enough. Trust me, it will happen to you. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface for your laptop or your phone. You can even check it on your phone. So if you're just like want to take a look at things while you're waiting on something, while you're waiting to pick up dinner, whatever, Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. You're going to forget that there's all these subscriptions. This happens to me all the time because I'm just like, oh, that sounds good. Click. And I sign up for subscriptions for things that I don't wind up reading or having the time to access. And you want to be able to figure out exactly how much that is costing you and make those assessments as time goes by. That's what Monarch Money is so great at. It's able to link these across accounts. So you're able to get a comprehensive view of where all your money's going. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us here on a Wednesday night. No jinx, because we would never, ever, ever jinx anybody. It's not something we
Wizards pilled. Let's go.
The Wizards pilled. No jinx. Yeah. The problem is that they have to finish bottom five, otherwise they lose the pick.
Oh yeah, no, they are going to be horrible because they're going to buy out CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton in the middle of the season.
It sucks because I'm just like, if they didn't owe the pick, it would just be like, it's fine. It'd be like, yeah.
Did they trade that as part of like the Porzingis deal or something? Like,
I don't remember.
How do you give, if that's the Wizards, how do you give up a first round pick, man?
It's protected. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. It better be because they're bottom five now.
Yeah, but it's also just like, I don't know. I think we're crazy about it. It's like we go crazy about these first round picks, and it turns into like.
Well, it's all fun and games until you trade the pick that becomes the next superstar. And
sure, but that's the point, Ryan. It's like we don't ever talk about the other outcomes where it's like, oh no, they traded the pick that became Bilal Coulibaly. Like, who cares?
Fair, yeah. That's a pretty good counter, but like you don't care about all those other ones until you care about the one that you screwed up.
I get it. All right. So, what's your final count for East and West when we sum these up?
Yeah, surprisingly, like the East, and part of this is, of course, because the East plays against the East and they are seeded against Eastern Conference teams. But in terms of like actual strength, I have the West at 51 and the East at 46 if we're doing totals. So you've got a little bit of advantage out West, not as surprising of an advantage as I thought there would be. I do think I was pretty generous on some of these rankings, like Atlanta getting a 4 out of me. That's a little generous. Detroit, like, we'll see what happens with Detroit. They very well may not get 47, 48 wins. And Miami, like Milwaukee, like there are some of these teams that are okay. But like, I do think that it's reasonable to say they're not so bad that you have to hate on them constantly.
So I made the count 50 to 46.
Okay.
So we're just 1 point off.
Pretty good.
And I think what's interesting there is it's basically the differential. When I broke it down is there are 3 finals contenders in the West and there's only 2 in the East. And that's really kind of the difference is like, there's 3 title contender in the Western Conference and only 2 in the East. And there's 1 fewer tanking team. There's 2 in the Eastern Conference, the Wizards and the Nets. And in the West, there's only the Jazz. Now, the difference here, though, is like, and this is our preseason projection. And like, inevitably, one of these teams will wind up falling into that tank realm. And what's I think has been frustrating is it's just so often, this is the same thing as with the draft, where it's like a team has things go awry and then they wind up tanking. And it's like, it's always the team in the East. And then the lottery happens. So all these teams in the East that tanked and they don't win. And the best player goes to the Western Conference anyway.
Yeah.
And that's got nothing to do with like team. There's also like, there's no rhyme or reason to this. There's no reason that the West should be better than the East.
The East got Zachary Risachet in 2024 and the West got like earmark that with Victor Wembanyama in 2023 and Cooper Flagg in 2025. Like it just isn't fair sometimes. And it's like they also got Paolo Banchero in 2022, who's like, he's going to be really good. He's going to be really good for a while. Is he going to be a franchise changing superstar for Orlando? I think is a fair question. We'll just have to see how that goes. But it is like, it is always imbalanced. I do think that Philly is one of those examples that you used where, hey, what is a surprising team that could potentially tank or could potentially fall off? Well, that was Philly. You gave a 4. So there is at least a very fair chance where one of those top teams that you had just goes off the rails. And that's not to say that it can't happen in the West. It just hasn't happened so far.
So Grace is in here chirping in with, well, East teams get to play the East more, and the West has to play the West more. That's what's bringing those averages closer than expected. I hear what you're saying there. It's just like, look, last season the splits were 55-45. That's the split. Is the West beat the East 55% of the time versus 45% of the time. It's not 60-40. It's not 70-30. And that's how we talk about it, is we talk about it in those terms. In 2023, it was 57-43. It's always kind of right around this number. In 2022, it was 50-50. Like, this isn't because of the way the NBA works. And this is what I always try and stress is because of when you play these teams, you're going to wind up playing them when it's like, well, I mean, sure, we lost to this team, but like we were missing X and Y and Z, and it was a third game and fourth nights, and like the steak dinner was really bad the night before. How do you expect us to, and we don't ever do the same thing for the Eastern Conference. Gray says 55-45 is a big gap. I don't agree. I just don't agree that 55-45 is a huge gap there. It's a 5 percentage point. Like, it's not a coin flip. It's a solid edge. It's above like betting big. But like that to me is not how it's talked about, which is like 60-40. If I ask people, what do you think the West won against the East last season? I bet most people would be like 60-40, 70-30, 65-35 because of the perception of how much better they are. But I'm just not sure that they are. The other thing I just really think here is when I look at the Western Conference, Ryan, I just don't. It's like I gave the Wolves credit here, but it's also like the Wolves step on rakes a lot of the time. The Lakers have zero depth. The Clippers are hung together from leadership that is a ghost. They have no leadership on that team.
Sure.
The Nuggets are a one-man band. And I don't want that to be the case, but it has been proven over and over and over again that it's just like, it's Jokic. Like, that's it.
Let's counter here. You had the Clippers as a 5. You had the T-Wolves as a 4. Where would those teams rank for you among Eastern Conference teams? Because they are outside of the top 3 really in terms of major contenders in the West for a lot of people.
I'm trying to think like, okay, so I think an interesting question here is like, I think the idea is these East teams would not stand a chance against the West. And I don't
Not a chance. That's never the thing. But in terms of like, okay, you take what the West is like the first round matchup that the Nuggets had to play in this past round. Like that's like there's just a difference between playing them and playing the Bucks, I think, and playing them and playing the Pistons. Honestly, I really do think that those teams are just better, more consistent, and can reach higher levels on a consistent basis. And that's just something that the West constantly has to deal with. Like that's an unfortunate reality for Denver. But like last year,
but here's the question. But here's the thing: the Pacers still come out of the Eastern Conference and they push them to 7. The dominant team, the Thunder that you thought no one could touch, went 7 games as a middle seed.
Yeah, I mean. Something that Caitlin Cooper said stood out to me. We don't know necessarily how to really talk about these teams that make a run, that are kind of the finalists in the finals, but don't necessarily win it all. I don't know how to evaluate how good Indiana actually is. Like they looked like a couple of different teams throughout the year. And then when Tyrese Halliburton's hitting these insane shots and they looked almost unbeatable except for OKC. So I don't know. Could Denver have beaten OKC last year? Maybe. Like that's probably a pretty close series as well. But I just kind of think how the rest, it might just be how the NBA playoff picture is going forward. And well, I don't know if that has anything to do with the conference imbalance.
So even though we've debated this, we both agree that the West is tougher.
Sure.
But coming up, I'm going to ask Ryan Blackburn a key question. Is that fair? We'll do that coming up on Locked On Nuggets. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. I'm telling you that the AFC West is wide open. I'm telling you, you'll be able to get a great number on Denver Broncos to win that division. It's wide open. I am telling you, I'm not trolling here. I'm dead serious. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of good options, especially Offensive Player of the Year. I think is always a really fun one to look into as well. And you can look at, you can put together your division winners or I like doing Super Bowl exactas. So Bills versus Niners is one to definitely look at. That's a very popular pick amongst the sharp folks right now. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because FanDuel Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us, making this part of your day. Matt Moore and Ryan Blackburn. No jinx. We would never jinx anybody. It's why we do. It's not something we would do. We wouldn't tweet things like the Nuggets are cooked. Or do shows that say that
the Nuggets tweeted Facu highlights today.
I saw you commenting, and I was just like, why do you not like yourself? Love yourself more, Ryan. Don't do that.
It was just I couldn't resist, because what possessed, like they could have put together PJ Dozier highlights and I would have watched. That would have been great. But
Grace wants us to look at point differentials instead of win totals. Okay, but the problem with that is that we've seen consistently that those are not transferring to the postseason success the way that they did in previous iterations of the league. And I think we can both agree that, like, we don't think that the Thunder or Celtics are these all-time amazing, unstoppable teams. They're not the Warriors, and yet their point differential suggests that they are. So
those franchises would tell you that they were all-time great teams, but I think.
So, I mean, Nuggets fans would feel like their championship team was
16-4 was a great run. Yeah, 100%. So it is kind of funny how that works, but no, it'd be interesting to see what this turns into.
I want to ask the question.
Okay.
And this is the big one. So you've done the homework, and now you're kind of like, oh, they're not as wide as I thought. But the key question here is it is tougher in the West than it is in the East. Do you find that to be unfair?
You know, if it was just a 1-year thing, I would say no. It's cyclical. Everything is cyclical in the NBA. Things go up, things go down. You never know which team is going to be great. Every team's going to have their day, except for the Eastern Conference for 25 straight years. I don't think that the Eastern Conference has won more total games than the Western Conference since Jordan. Like, is that not, like, I feel like that's true. And I'd have to go back and actually look at the numbers there, but I saw that stat. And I do think that is a massive factor here for when you talk about fairness and you talk about expectation and what you're hoping for. I do think that Western Conference teams and Denver Nuggets fans, especially while the Nuggets are in their prime, can have a gripe that the Eastern Conference, like, yeah, New York is basically, if they don't get to the NBA Finals this year, it's a massive failure. If the Cleveland Cavaliers don't get to the NBA Finals this year, it is a massive failure, in part because there just isn't resistance at the top for those teams right now. And if they, like, that's just never the case with Denver, because they're always going to have resistance except for 2023. And that's always going to be the case. It's never not going to be the case. They found a gap year in the NBA and the Western Conference in 2023. It's never going to come up again. They're going to have to fight for it every single time, and that sucks.
Why does it suck?
Because sometimes if you're a Nuggets fan and you want good things for the Denver Nuggets, you want to see them win 65 games, you want to see them win 70 games, you want to see them be remembered as one of the great teams with a great player all time. Like, think about, and LeBron is amazing. He is amazing. Didn't he go to the NBA Finals like 10 straight times in the Eastern Conference? Like, that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Or not 10 straight times, I don't think, but
No,
pretty close to it.
Right.
And the fact that he got there as often as he did, like, shows how great he is, but also shows that so many of these teams folded, and there wasn't like many large scale competitions at the top of the Eastern Conference,
If
especially
LeBron
after 2012.
if LeBron had been in the West in his prime, it just would have been him making all these other teams Toronto.
You think so? I don't think so.
Not the Warriors, because the Warriors were like a special thing, right?
Not the Spurs. You sure about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Like, they got 2014 because the Heat were at they're on their last legs, and also they deliberately turned off the air conditioning in game 1 in order to literally get LeBron off the floor.
Yeah,
they sabotaged the air conditioning system.
Yeah,
like that's what it took.
That's fair. I understand that, but also like sometimes it just takes one other great team, and the East has never had one other great team throughout that entire time that you could really point to and say, oh yeah, this is a team that was here year in and year out and could be like that consistent force to counter him in any way, shape, or form over the course of like 8 to 10 years. Like that's a
but I also
time.
I also think that in this argument, the thing that I think does kind of bug me is this assumption of like that all these teams are great, and they're not. They won a bunch of games. And like, this is kind of the inverse of what we always talk about, because I think winning 50 games is impressive. Like, it's a hard thing to do in a season. It takes a lot to win 50 games, but also it's just like they won a lot of games. They weren't a great team. The Wolves can win 50 games this year. They're not like a great all-time team. These aren't juggernauts, like, is my point. And
but
like,
they're not, it doesn't have to be a juggernaut in order to be like stiff competition and consistently, like, you have to play your best basketball in order to actually survive all of those rounds. I just don't.
The Thunder didn't have to play their best basketball to get past the Memphis Grizzlies or the Minnesota Timberwolves. They had to play their best basketball to get past Denver, which is a credit to what Denver was able to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens when you're the 1 seed and you got to play an 8 seed, I guess. That's one of the benefits of that. Well, and that would happen in the Eastern Conference too.
Like, but then we got the 2 seed, the Houston Rockets.
I mean, that's
okay though, because I mean, look, at least the 3rd seed was dominant with Jackson Hayes starting and then playing the same 5 guys the entire second half.
This is a good argument that you're making. This is a good argument. I will give you credit. What I will say, just on a consistent baseline perspective, is I am always going to respect the top 6 teams in the Western Conference over the top 6 teams in the East. Like, it is never ever going to be a concern for me that the top 6 teams would wash the top 6 teams in the East overall. Like, overall, that's just, it's always going to happen.
The fact that the Cavs and the Knicks have absolutely jumped up and down on Denver's head doesn't matter to you?
In the regular season in November, no, I don't care.
Okay. But I think there's a lot of teams in the Western Conference that are going to playoff fraudish.
Weren't the Knicks?
They beat the Celtics.
Weren't the Cavs?
They had a lot of injuries versus.
They did. I agree. But like, what about last year? Actually, Donovan Mitchell got hurt last year, and Darius Garland was out. Okay. All these injuries also happened in the West. Like, I understand that you're coming up with good counter arguments here. I do hear you. I
haven't disagreed with the position. It's more of just like as always, it's always like the phrasing where it's like, I just respect the West so much versus the East. And I'm like, no, like, you can, like, the Eastern Conference has had some really great battles. You've had to deal with the Heat every year in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
You had to deal with the best coach with a great roster who is always going to mess with you. The Celtics have been good every single year in the Eastern Conference. You've had to deal with them. Like, there is not the top level talent. I think that might be shifting though. Like, if we talk about like the top level, right? So hear me out on this. In the Eastern Conference, you got Donovan Mitchell, who I think is underrated as like a top level guy.
I think he's top 10. Yeah.
Like Jalen Brunson, who was in MVP conversations in 2024. Giannis, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Sure.
You had Tyrese Halliburton, and this year is going to be a little bit different because you got Halliburton and Tatum injured. Like this year, that's a big difference. And I think that's kind of interesting here, Ryan, that we talked about, we took out, like we know these teams are missing all these players, and the gap still winded up grading that way. And the idea is like, well, yeah, they're all injured, so they all have a chance, and that boosts everybody's opportunity.
We do this every offseason where you can like turn off injuries. You can basically say, okay, you take these teams at full strength. You look at what the actual talent is, and it's not that far off. It just feels like every single season, once you get into like, okay, the top 30 or the top 40 in win shares or EPM or whatever it is, you're just going to get a 25 to 15 distribution. You're just going to get a 20 to 10 distribution on where the top players are, who you actually take in a player ranking, like who you actually think is driving the most value for their teams. And I'm tired of it, honest. Like I get it. I understand it. And like, I do hear you that the East is probably better than what I'm initially giving them credit for, but it is just like, I don't know. Will the Nuggets ever have an easier path to the NBA Finals than what the Cavs or the Knicks will have this season?
I don't know, because I don't know how good the Detroit Pistons are going to be if Cade Cunningham makes a leap. I think Cade Cunningham. No, he's amazing, man. Cade's amazing. Go look at the numbers on Cade.
He's like the 12th best player in the NBA. I agree.
And yeah, I mean, I can look at, if I got the Elite 100 up.
I think I had him at like 15, honestly.
No, I had him at 13. I remember that. It's more a matter of like, I'm just asking I guess I'm asking here is like, I don't know that even the top talent distribution is the way that you think it is. Because it's like, oh man, the West has got Kawhi Leonard for the 35 games are going to be unbearable. Oh, they got James Harden. Cool.
Okay, well, you've got plenty of other guys that we could.
Yeah, name. But you got like, all right, top 5, right, is unquestionable. It's Jokic. It's in some order. It's Jokic, Giannis, Shea, Luka, and then the 5th guy is like whoever you want to fill in.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fine. That's
a 2-2 split. And so it depends on who you have as a 5th guy.
I'd have to go and look at some of like where I had some of the
3-1 split. It's Luka, Jokic, Shea.
Yeah, so on the top 20, I had West, West, East, West, East, West, 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 East, 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 West, East, West, East, West, 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 East, West.
We'll have to do the count.
So it's okay. Yeah. It's probably like 12-8.
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation. I understand why you feel this way, and most people I think agree with you. And I don't think that the East is better than the Western Conference, and I don't think that the East is as good as the Western Conference. I just think the way that we talk about it is a little bit of a misnomer with how the NBA regular season actually works, and that we talk about like how brutal it is. Oh man, you got to play the Rockets on a Tuesday.
84 years. 84 years since the East has been better than the West. Just be better 1 year.
Is that why has the West won 84 straight titles? Is that what happened?
You don't have to be the better conference in order to be the best team.
It's true. Yeah. And then being the best team, maybe that's all that matters. Maybe that proves what the better conference is. Before we get out of here, I do want to take 1 second. I just want to give Jokic a lot of credit. We'll talk more about this on the next show because we ran long. I want to give Jokic a lot of credit for he's in Eurobasket. He's playing in the friendlies. He's involved in this. And like, as much as I have concerns about his availability, Ryan, this has never impacted. Like, he plays in these games and then he goes in the regular season and he dominates and has MVP seasons. I've never seen anyone with a motor like Nikola Jokic.
It's extremely consistent. There's never really been a center, in my opinion, like this before, who carries the load for this and then just turns it around and does the same thing at the same level of availability. Like, this is the guy that you want on your team, just leading everything. And do I have some concerns about how intense he's going to be in his drop coverage assignments this season? Sure. But like, that's a game 67 problem, not a game 12 problem.
All right. We'll talk more about this on an upcoming show. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure to hit us in the comments and tell me why I'm wrong and why the Western Conference is so much better than the Eastern Conference. I appreciate Ryan for putting up with me tonight. Hope you guys have yourselves a great week. We'll see you guys again next time here on Locked On Nuggets.
The East is trash.